Right now at noon, the DeForest Village Board is preparing to file a complaint against its police chief. We'll have the latest on that. Plus an update on the Paul Manafort trial as Rick Gates wraps up his testimony. And why fire officials say the timeline for the containment of the Mendocino complex fire is changing.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit, but first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield has a look at our first alert forecast. A foggy start to the day.
Man, you couldn't see 2 feet in front of you, it seemed like.
It's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
If you weren't driving or,
Exactly. It's a little bit of an eerie start, but we got rid of that fog, thankfully. We still do have that humidity in place, but the sunshine has greeted us to start this early afternoon. A live look in Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam showing just some puffy cumulus clouds. We'll see partly sunny skies throughout the day, but our visibility back to all 10s, folks. 10 out of 10. Temperatures are in the mid-70s early this Wednesday afternoon. 75 in Madison and in Janesville. 77 in the Dells and 79 in Boscobel. Dew points are in the mid-50s and mid-50s, I wish, actually. We have to talk about the mid-60s and upper 60s, so still feeling quite humid outside. Here's what it looks like in downtown Madison on the Edgewater Skycam. For your forecast first, highs should make it into the low to mid-80s with plenty of sunshine, but maybe some more patchy dense fog as we start tomorrow morning. We'll talk about that threat, plus some rain chances do return to the forecast. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
And the fog makes it very quiet out. What is the deal? Is it like a blanket?
I guess so. I guess so. It kind of compacts the air, I would say.
Kind of fun. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Dave. Topping the news today, the DeForest Village Board is preparing to file a complaint against its police chief in the next day or two. Board members made that decision in a closed session last night. It's in response to a video that surfaced online showing Chief Daniel Furseth making comments about a group of African-American men from a squad car in May of 2015. That's before he led the department. Furseth rescinded his offer to resign as chief earlier this summer. The village's police and fire commission could decide to fire Furseth once the board files its complaint. Rock County Public Health Department officials say blue-green algae has been found in Lake Koshkonong. They say the conditions are right for blue-green algae, but because it is hard to determine the exact levels of toxin concentrations, anyone considering recreating on or in the water should use caution and common sense. They recommend not swimming in areas of high algae, not swallowing water, and make sure you rinse off after coming in contact with the water. Rick Gates wraps up his testimony today in the trial of his former business partner and friend Paul Manafort. Manafort, President Trump's one-time campaign chair, faces bank and tax fraud charges. Paula Reed has more.
Mr. Manafort had a great day.
Paul Manafort's lawyers are happy so far with their questioning of Rick Gates, Manafort's former business partner and friend. Attorney Kevin Downing hammered at Gates' truthfulness, asking, after all the lies you've told and fraud you've committed, you expect this jury to believe you? Yes, Gates responded, I'm here to tell the truth. In an effort to discredit his testimony, Manafort's lawyers got Gates to admit embezzling from his former boss and engaging in an extramarital affair a decade ago with a secret apartment in London to carry on the tryst. Gates has testified he committed financial crimes, including tax evasion and bank fraud, at Manafort's direction. While Manafort is not charged with any crimes related to his work as Mr. Trump's campaign chairman, the president came up at trial on Tuesday. Gates told prosecutors after the election he went to work for President Trump's inauguration committee. Prosecutors showed a series of emails from Manafort asking Gates to use his position to offer a series of favors for Stephen Koch, the CEO of a bank which had provided a $16 million loan to Manafort. Manafort even pushed Gates to get Koch on the list to be Secretary of the Army. That didn't happen, but Koch was named an economic advisor to President Trump.
A Democrat-inspired witch hunt. I would call it the rigged witch hunt.
President Trump has continuously tried to discredit special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, which led to charges against Manafort and this trial. Paula Reed, CBS News, Alexandria, Virginia.
And Gates also testified that it is possible that he submitted personal expenses to the president's inaugural committee. Republican U.S. Representative Christopher Collins of New York has been indicted on charges that he used inside information about a biotechnology company to make illicit stock trades. The charges were announced and the indictment unsealed in New York City today. The indictment charges Collins and two others, including the congressman's son, with conspiracy, wire fraud, and other counts. Collins has denied any wrongdoing. A special election in Ohio could be a sign of what's to come in the fall midterm elections. The 12th congressional seat in Ohio has long been Republican, but state elections officials say the race is too close to call. Democrat Danny O'Connor says he's waiting until all the votes are counted, and he trails the Republican Troy Balderson by about 1,700 votes, but Balderson has already declared victory. Ohio elections officials say they won't declare a winner until they count more than 8,000 provisional and absentee ballots, but that won't happen for another 10 days. California could be on the way to its worst wildfire season in the state's history. The huge Madison complex wildfire in Northern California is forcing a 2-week delay for the start of the school year. More than 4,000 firefighters continue to battle the fires almost 2 weeks after the blazes began. Crews have been setting up multiple lines of defense, clearing away vegetation to create fire breaks. They're keeping a close eye on where the fire might be spreading.
Our hope is that plume will collapse back on itself and not bend too much more to our north.
But a plume like that is what's helped this fire grow so much over the past 11 days or so.
A plume like that, and then you add a wind to it, it turns horizontal, and the fire's off and running again.
These fires have destroyed 75 houses and more than 10,000 structures are still threatened. Fire officials now say they don't expect to have this fire fully contained until September. Tesla's CEO Elon Musk says that he is preparing to take the electric car maker private in what would be the largest buyout in U.S. history. The unconventional CEO tweeted he was considering taking Tesla private at $420 a share. Musk elaborated in a letter to employees saying that he'd like to free Tesla from the, quote, distraction that comes from being a publicly traded company, including swings in stock prices, quarterly earnings pressure, and people attacking the company.
He wants the freedom to take risks and not be punished in the market for it. Taking it private would allow him to do that.
This has very frequently been why people have underestimated Tesla, because they would look at Tesla's what Tesla's done in the past and use that as proxy for what we're able to do in the future.
Musk says that shareholders are going to have a choice between selling their shares and sticking with the company. Well, there's more to come on News 3 at noon. We'll find out what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen when we come back.
Looking for a peachy keen way to satisfy your sweet tooth? We've got it, and boy, are you gonna love it. I was at the store the other day, and I was blown away by just how good the peaches looked. And since they're at their peak and are so reasonable, I picked up a bunch to make one of my summertime favorites, mini peach ham pies. To make these just the right size beauties, we begin with the filling. It's simply some fresh peaches that we've peeled and diced, along with some cinnamon sugar, a bit of lemon juice, and a little flour. The flour helps thicken the filling as it bakes. Next, we cut out some circles from a refrigerated pie crust using either a biscuit cutter or a drinking glass. Now, we spoon the filling on half of our circles and top each one with another piece. Then, using a fork, we seal the edges and cut a slit in the top. A quick brush with an egg wash and a little sugar, and they'll be ready to go into the oven. When the crust is golden and they've cooled slightly, they're ready to serve as is. Or how about teaming them with a scoop of vanilla ice cream? To get the recipe for our fresh peach ham pies, all you have to do is check out our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fresh and peachy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, thank you. The sun is out, the humidity remains. We'll get Dave Caulfield's first alert forecast right after this. Our call for action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Trade tensions escalate again, and Americans are choosing to spend money on themselves. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
Trade tensions continue to rise. The Trump administration says it is moving forward with imposing 25% tariffs on another $16 billion of Chinese goods. The new import tax kicks in on August 23rd and will target tractors, motorcycles, industrial supplies, and other items. This marks the second round of U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods. Content is king, and Disney is gearing up for its next chapter as it swallows up much of the Fox empire. The company prevailed over Comcast in its courtship of Fox, and with a green light from the government, that content becomes part of the Disney toolkit as it races to launch a new streaming service in 2019. Meanwhile, Disney reported weaker than expected numbers for its latest quarter. Tinder gives a boost to Match Group. The parent company of several popular dating platforms says profits shot up to $132.5 million on revenue of $421 million during its second quarter. Credit that to a rise in Tinder subscribers. Though the app is free, bells and whistles cost extra. And average Americans are splurging on themselves. According to a recent survey by Eventbrite, Americans spend about $200 a month on non-essential items to treat themselves. That's about a fifth of their disposable income. Those 25 and younger splurge a little more, spending a third of their disposable income. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane Kinghall.
All right, Diane, thank you. The Dow Industrial is down 40 points at the noon hour. The NASDAQ, however, is up 6. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee. Spending money on yourself.
Yeah, well, if you consider gas, flagrant use of money on myself, then I've been spending plenty of that lately. You know, yesterday was our day over at the Wisconsin State Fair, and I thought I'd make you jealous because we had beautiful weather yesterday. It was overcast, but it was beautiful, and we had a good crowd over at State Fair Park. I was there as the MC for the Governor's Blue Ribbon Meat Products Auction. I think we got a couple pictures. Look, cattle were more comfortable than the people yesterday at State Fair Park. They're laying down real happy, chewing their cud, but the people, you know, they got to stick around to make sure they are answering questions and always monitoring the animals, and that's the kind of condition they're living in. So it is, you know, barn camp is important. We got to be there to do chores, but like I said, the animals are the priority, and there you go. Let's be creative about the time that we're spending in the barn if we've got to be there. So a lot of fun always going on in the barn. The governor was on hand to kick off our sale last night. They raised in total more than $100,000 to benefit Wisconsin's 4-H Foundation. That's Kathy. Yep, sure. No, I can't think of her last name. She's from Anago, the new champion for the Wisconsin Auctioneers Association. So congratulations to Kathy. She's going to represent us in New Orleans coming up in July. And there, as I promised, got the cream puff as big of my head last night to enjoy some of the true State Fair experiences. Like we said, tonight the Governor's Blue Ribbon Livestock Auction is going to happen, and tomorrow night the Governor's Blue Ribbon Dairy Products Auction happening at State Fair Park. So regardless of the weather, I sure hope you're going to make it over there. And construction, if you're worried about that zoo interchange over by State Fair Park, don't worry anymore. Boy, oh boy, exit. They've got a dedicated lane just for State Fair traffic, so make sure that you're not letting that deter you. Nice rally today as far as cheese. Barrel cheese was up 3 cents at $1.51.5. 40-pound block cheese up 2 3/4 cents at $1.60.5. The AA butter up a half at $2.32 a pound. And yes, it was not my cream puff alone. Buck was along with me yesterday because, holy man, I didn't realize how tall they were stacking them this year. It was good, but that was a 2-person, if not 3-person task. So it was wonderful to enjoy, but holy peapod, you got to be an eater to down one of those by yourself.
Well, and there's no way to not make a mess.
Well, yeah, you know, you can choose to fool around, screw it off, or whatever. You can just dive right in.
Yeah,
because we were sharing, we were a little bit better prepared.
Head first.
Yeah, there you go.
Going up to Pambo tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I'll be up there. I don't know how long I'll be up there, but gotta keep our fingers crossed. They got decent weather up there for the first preseason game.
Where does the time go?
I know.
All right, Pam, we'll see you later. And Dave is here now. Very summer, not football weather.
Not exactly, because we have temperatures back into the 80s now, and they'll be there for quite some time over the next week or so. We could actually encroach on 90 degrees, talking about football. Encroachment, that's a penalty. I know those sports with a Z at the end of it. Visible cloud track showing the fog actually this morning lifting, which is pretty cool. Sometimes it's not just doom and gloom on visible cloud track. You can see some cool atmospheric phenomenon. Now, on Doppler track, no rain to speak of today. I think we leave the rain behind, but tomorrow, some showers and thunderstorms are possible. Shouldn't be a major deal, but we're going to want to have that umbrella at the ready. Visibility back to 10s across the board for southern Wisconsin, but this is what it looked like early this morning in Madison. Look at that. Couldn't really see about a quarter of a mile in front of you outside, so hopefully everyone stayed safe. I do think that it's a possibility that we get that fog to come back a little bit later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. What's been happening, folks, is we just have this humid air mass in town, and the fronts that usually sweep that humidity out have been too weak. They haven't really been doing their job. So another night of maybe some patchy dense fog ahead of us. 75 right now, no fog to speak of, calm wind with that dew point still in the mid 60s. Temperatures across some other spots, 76 in Watertown, 75 in Janesville, 77 in Mineral Point, and 74 in Platteville. Dew points in the mid to upper 60s, and that's a little bit in the bad hair day range. So we're above noticeable, kind of closer to that bad hair day, and as coincidence would have it, I'm having one right now. Extra deodorant for some of us, especially closer to southwestern Wisconsin, and I think those dew points will stick around at least into tomorrow. Our August temperatures really haven't been all that warm, but our monthly departure so far is about 1.5 degrees above normal, and we'll be way above normal over the next couple of days into the next week or so. Temperatures are pushing about 5 degrees above normal as we head into the middle of next week. Future track showing things staying pretty quiet. No rain to worry about today with temperatures in the low to mid 80s for highs. Maybe a little bit of fog. Future track is picking up on for tomorrow morning, and then can't rule out a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow, but not optimistic is future track for the rain chances tomorrow. We do have some slight rain chances in the forecast for Friday and Saturday. Temperatures staying in the mid 80s, but I do think we'll be quite sunny and dry for Sunday and Monday. With oh, okay. The water's fine, right? We are talking about some more rain chances on Tuesday and Wednesday with highs in the mid 80s, and we're pushing close to 90 with that humidity definitely back in full force for much of next week.
Well, that comfort meter is scientific.
It is. I mean, we work really hard here at News 3.
I like the don't talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could even face those dew points. So.
All right, Dave, thank you. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, the Oregon volleyball team assigned a special player. We'll have that story when we come back. Today, the University of Oregon volleyball team called a news conference to sign what you may want to call the impact player, but 8-year-old Danielle Bixby is more than just a top recruit for the Ducks. She's their little duckling. Andrew Hobner has the story.
From the very beginning, she was just on fire. So this press conference today was exactly consistent with everything that she's ever been to us, for sure.
Danielle Bixby is 8 years old and suffers from Langerhans cell histiocytosis, a rare disease. But you'd never know when meeting her.
Oh, great. Auntie Linda's crying.
The Eugene native, in conjunction with nonprofit Team Impact, signed with Oregon Volleyball on Tuesday.
We started working out the final details. They asked what college we were interested in, and we instantly said Oregon. There was no other choice. This is our home college.
And she's been a rallying point for the Ducks. And as their season gears up, her treatments are winding down.
She's completed 10 rounds of chemo since August 4th or August 18th of last year, and her last round of chemo will be the last week of September this year. So we have lots of reasons to celebrate.
Which is perfect for the Ducks' top 2018 recruit, who's grown very close with the team.
And I really love them so much because they're my best friends, and my team is special to me. And I'm their little duck, and they're my girls.
Great story.
That's really awesome.
All right, speaking of awesome, the weather.
Yeah, the weather's not bad. A little bit humid, but partly sunny, so at least we get to see that sunshine after the fog this morning. Warmer with temperatures in the mid-80s. Over the next 12 hours or so, temperatures falling through the 80s and 70s into the 60s. Some more fog could greet us tomorrow morning. 7-day forecast showing temperatures staying in the 80s, so we stay warm into next week.
It's August, that's for
sure.
It is. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.